guys, welcome to Talking Money with Nosy, Personal Finance Made Simple. Today I'll be talking about a personal finance movement called Financial Independence Retire Early, also known as F.I.R.E. By the way, this is a two-part video that I am doing in collaboration with Thando Ndlovu. After watching this video, you can go over to Thando's channel to watch her journey to F.I.R.E. So what is F.I.R.E.? F.I.R.E. is a movement where you control how you spend, save, and invest with the goal of becoming financially independent as quickly as possible and retiring early. The F.I.R.E. movement rejects the traditional path to retirement where people work at 9-to-5 jobs for 40 years and only retire at age 65 or older. The purpose of the F.I.R.E. movement is to reduce dependence on jobs and to have the option to live your life on your own terms. Many F.I.R.E. followers look to retire in their 30s, 40s, or early 50s. So how does financial independence retire early work? The F.I.R.E. movement is based on taking control of your finances by focusing on these two things. Number one, saving and investing more of what you earn, and number two, spending less of what you earn. Some of the practical things involved to achieve F.I.R.E. include, number one, maximizing your retirement contributions to pension funds or retirement annuities. In South Africa, you can contribute up to 27.5% of your taxable income to retirement funds. Number two, using and maximizing tax-free accounts to invest. You are allowed to contribute and invest up to 36,000 Rand per tax year in your TFSA. Number three, investing in low-cost index funds to generate higher long-term returns than cash. Index funds are things like exchange-traded funds. Please click on the link that is appearing on your screen right now to learn more about indexes or exchange-traded funds. Number four, investing in rental property or listed property for predictable rental income. Number five, paying off all debt like car loans, credit cards, student loans, store accounts, personal loans as soon as possible. Number six, learning a new skill or starting a side hustle that will increase your income. Number seven, living a simple and inexpensive lifestyle. Number eight, buying used cars and keeping them as long as possible instead of borrowing money for a new car every 5 years or so. By saving and investing more of their money, their investments grow to a point that is enough to pay for their lifestyles and not dependent on jobs anymore. So how do you become part of the F.I.R.E. movement? Well, it starts with asking yourself these two questions. Number one, how much income do you need every month from your investments when you become financially independent? Question number two, how soon do you want to become financially independent? Based on your answers to the two questions, you do some calculations to work out how much you need to invest right now to reach your goal in your desired time. To figure out how much you need to become financially independent, you use the rule of 300. The rule of 300 is very simple. You take your current monthly expenses and multiply that amount by 300. The amount that you get is how much your investments should be worth for you to be financially independent. Okay, guys, I'm going to use an example of a 28-year-old who's got monthly expenses of 12,000 Rand. So what is her financial freedom number? Well, it's simple. We take her monthly expenses, which is 12,000 Rand, multiply that by 300. So it means she needs 3.6 million. Now, before you fall off your chair, I'm going to show you using a compound interest calculator how much she could be investing every month in order to reach her target. So a lot of people want to collapse when they calculate their F.I.R.E. number because they think, yo, where am I going to get all these millions? But today I want to show you the magic of compound interest. This is a compound interest calculator. This is where we're going to figure out how much the 28-year-old needs to invest every single month in order to reach her F.I.R.E. number, the 3.6 million Rand, okay? So let's assume this 28-year-old is starting from a zero balance. She's got nothing at the moment. Interest rate, how much can she expect to earn? And I'm going to use 10%. It's a conservative number. You can actually get more, all right? And I'm assuming that this person is investing on the stock market. So they're not buying anything complex. They're just buying broad market ETFs, and 10% is a safe number to use. Let's say she wants to retire early and her target is 10 years. Compounding interval. Usually investments compound every year, not monthly or daily or weekly, it's yearly. So how much should she invest every month? These are the monthly deposits. So because we don't know, I'm just going to put 2,000. Ignore the dollar sign. The calculations work the same. So if I hit calculate, so after 10 years, she will have 400,000 Rand. So clearly this is not 3.6, so she hasn't hit her target. What if she doubles that? When she doubles her investments to 4,000 Rand, she gets 800,000 Rand at the end of 10 years. Again, she is not yet hitting the target, right? What if, it's getting dangerous now, nah? Okay, so if she invests 6,000 Rand for 10 years, compounding at 10%, this is what she will get. She will get 1,200,000. Again, this is still below her FIRE number. Remember, her FIRE number is 3.6 million. Okay, so already I can already see that to get there, maybe let's double that to 12,000 Rand. And by the way, guys, before you run away and say this is only for rich people, this is an example. Okay, it's an example, but it illustrates something as well, and it will become obvious as we continue with this video. So let's calculate that and see what she gets. Okay, so she's a bit short there. So you can see that in total, if she invests 12,000 Rand a month for 10 years, compounding that at 10%, she will get 2.4 million at the end. Okay, not enough for her FIRE. Let's try 15,000 Rand. Again, I know that this is above a lot of people's affordability, guys. Again, she's short by 600,000. Okay, so let's up that. Yeah, this is a lot. Let's calculate that. Okay, she hits it. So if she invests 18,000 Rand per month for 10 years at compounding at 10%, she will have approximately 3.6 million Rand at the end. Guys, assumption is that those investments will actually compound at 10% annually, right? This is not cast in stone. The investments can return more than this or less. Nobody can predict the future, okay? So these are just estimates. Now, let's assume she says, no, 10 years, maybe it's a little bit short for me to try to retire. What if I change it to 15 years? How much will she need to invest in order to get 3.6 million in 15 years' time? So again, we start the exercise all over again. So I'll start with 2,000 Rand and we calculate, I leave the interest rate the same. After 15 years of investing 2,000 Rand a month, compounding at 10% annually, she will get 797. What if we double this to 4,000 Rand? Calculate that. She will get 1,594,000 Rand. Okay? Let's change that to 6,000. How much will that be? This time she's getting 2.3 million after 15 years. And I hope you're starting to see the picture here. The longer your time, the less amount you need to invest to hit your target. That's the point that I'm trying to drive here. Let's just up it to 7,000 Rand. Let's see what 7,000 will give us. Will give us 2.791 million. What about 8,000 Rand? Okay, look, we're getting close and we're only on 8,000 Rand. She will get up about 3.1 million. Let's increase it to 9,000 Rand per month. Let's calculate that. 3.5, close. So let me change it to 9,500 Rand. Let's calculate that. And she gets 3.78 million, right? Okay, let's say the girl says, I can't afford 9,500 Rand. And by the way, this is the majority of South Africans. We cannot afford this amount of money. What if she says, okay, let me retire maybe after 20 years, right? How much would she need to invest in order for her to be able to retire in 20 years' time when she is 48 years old, right? So I'm going to leave the interest at 10% and the compound as yearly and the initial balance is 0. And I'm going to just change again. I'm going to play around with the monthly investments. So let's start again with 2,000 and calculate that. Look at this. Just by increasing her time, right? She gets more with less money. And that's the point which I always try to drive home. If you are young, you need to start investing immediately because you need less money to reach your goals. So young people have got decades ahead of them. They've got 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. That's the best time to start investing because you can afford to throw in smaller amounts into the stock market. Let's change it to 4,000 Rand. How much will that get her? Let's calculate that. Look at that. 4,000 Rand for 20 years, compounding at 10% gives you around 2.8 million Rand. And this is the kicker that I want you to see, guys. Look at the person's deposits. They only deposit 960,000 Rand in their total investment, the total 20 years, okay? But look at the interest that they earn on top of that. This is the magic of compound interest. So you are not going to come up with the millions. It's the interest that's going to earn you the millions. And that's why I say to people, please start investing early. Don't touch your investments, because if you touch your investments, you are disturbing compound interest. Let compound interest do its magic on your money over the years, and you'll be shocked how much money you'll get at the end. Let's change that to 5,000. Okay, and calculate that fast. Almost there, right? So 5,000 Rand gives about 3.5. I'll just change this to 5,500 and calculate. So 5,500 Rand a month invested for 20 years and compounding at 10% annually will give her 3.9 million Rand. And from there, she has reached financial freedom. She doesn't need a job anymore. And one thing that she must do is that as her income increases, she must also increase her investments. Okay. And another thing with reaching financial freedom, the key is keeping your expenses low. If your expenses increase with your increasing income, it may become difficult for you to reach financial freedom. Let's say this person says, I can't afford 5,500 a month. No, let me increase the number of years that I want to retire to 30 years. So let's run the calculations. The interest rate is 10% annually. It won't change. The timeline is 30 years and the compound interval is yearly. Let's start with deposits of 2,000 Rand. Let's calculate that. How much will she get after 30 years? Okay, look at that. I don't even have to adjust the calculator, because from just 2,000 Rand a month, she gets 4 million Rand. So guys, the takeaway from all of this is that if you want to reach financial freedom is possible. I've shown you already, okay, with the calculations and stuff. Financial freedom is possible. Number one, if you start investing early. So the longer your timeline, the better, because it means you can afford to invest smaller amounts of money. I mean, if she was investing for 40 years, she would even need less than 2,000 Rand a month. Okay? So if you are young, guys, please start investing immediately, right? Secondly, don't mistake the power of compounding interest. Look at this. She only contributes 720,000 Rand over these 30 years, right? That's what is the contribution, the actual deposits. But look at what the magic of compound interest does. Compound interest is going to turn this amount of money into 4 million. And what is compound interest? I did a video on this, right? If you just search for my videos, it's titled Compound Interest, How to Turn 100 Rand into 1 million Rand. Okay? So compound interest is interest, earning interest on top of interest. And it snowballs as the years increase. So compound interest is not very good in a short space of time. But when the timeline starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, then compound interest just explodes. Okay, so this is why I say to you guys, please. I know people who follow me, people who watch my channel, I've checked my stats. You guys are aged between ages 20 and ages 45. You are the perfect age group to invest long term. If you are older, guys, so please don't be discouraged and say, yo, okay, so it means if I'm older, if I'm 50, etc., things are over for me. No, it's not. But what it means is that you need to deposit more money, because now your timeline is shorter. When you are now older, 2,000 Rand is not going to make it. If your target is 4 million in 10 years, for example, you will need to put in much, much, much more money. Doesn't mean don't invest. It means for you to reach your goals, you need to put in much, much more money than a younger person. The FIRE movement does have some critics. And many of the critics say that FIRE people are just too stingy, they're too frugal, to the point of depriving themselves of nice things. But if you ask people who are part of the FIRE movement, they will actually tell you that they get more joy from being responsible with their money than wasting it on instant gratification. FIRE people see their simple lifestyles as a way to spend their time doing what they really want to do, rather than what society tells them they should want to do. What really satisfies FIRE people is using their money in ways that lead to early financial independence. Okay guys, that's it about FIRE. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it was beneficial to you and it set you on fire. Please remember to head over to Tando's channel for part 2 of FIRE. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to start investing for financial independence, but you don't know where to begin, you can go to my online store to buy one of my ebooks about investing. Go to www.talkingmoneywithnozi.com to get your copy. I'm going to leave the link to my store in the description below. If you have any questions or comments about FIRE, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.